Here's an interview from one of our past shows on Rock and Metal Revival. If you're interested in hearing full shows, go to our Facebook page and check out our list of affiliates for times and places where you can hear Rock and Metal Revival.
So that was Black Magic off the new release from Reb Beach called A View from the Inside. And it's an instrumental album, as you could tell from that song, but there's some great stuff on here. And on the phone, we got none other than Reb Beach himself. How you doing, Reb?
Hey, Jerry. Doing great. Thanks for playing that song.
Oh, yeah. So how'd this project all come together? I mean, who's all involved? I mean, you got a great bass player there. Are you doing all the stuff, or is you got other musicians?
I played bass on a few songs. That's Philip Bino from Steve Vai's band playing bass on that one. And some people may actually recognize that song. That song came out on a record 31 years ago. It was a Guitar World compilation record.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, and that's why it wasn't released as a first single. And that song isn't really indicative of what all the songs are. You know, that's kind of the most rockin' one, so I put it up front. Mm-hmm. And believe it or not, that song, I've been getting royalty payments for that song for like 20 years because the Osaka baseball team, it's like the Osaka Hinshoes or something, I forget their name, but that's their theme song in Japan. So it plays on TV like every week, like every Sunday it plays on TV, so I get money from it. Nice. And I didn't know that until like a couple weeks ago when I had a student who said, I said, boy, it's so cool you want to learn Black Magic. And why do you know that song? And he said, what, you kidding? Everybody in Japan knows this song, you know. I'm like, whoa.
Hey.
So I looked at my royalties, and sure enough, I actually get money from that.
Nice. Can't beat that.
This is an updated version, though. The reason I redid it is because it sounds like really bad. It was recorded on an 8-track cassette 31 years ago.
Oh.
So this is the updated version with great players. And to answer your question, the drummer was Dave Throckmorton, who I've used my whole life. He's like my favorite drummer. He played on my last solo effort in 2003 where I sang on that album.
Oh, okay.
And the keyboard player is a friend of Kip Winger's who plays funky stuff and actually has a B3 organ and the clavinet and all the 70s sounds that I got on this record.
Yeah, you got some great guitar tones, too. What guitars were you using? I know you have your own custom Ibanez guitars.
It's basically just a Strat through a Marshall, you know.
Yeah.
But I got EMG pickups, which is different than most guys use. Zach Wilde uses them, but they're very flat sounding, and you know I have the same tone I've always had. It's always the same on every song. It's just kind of my sound.
Yeah.
But thanks for saying that.
Yeah. There's some really cool stuff going on, and now you said your first solo album you sang on. Now this one doesn't have any lyrics, it's all instrumental. You find it easier to do one or the other? Write lyrics and sing along with it, or?
Oh man, I mean instrumental stuff is way easier.
Yeah.
For everyone. Like I did this record. The way it happened was in '93 when Winger kind of disbanded and all of the 80s bands shot down in flames.
Oh, yeah.
I was like, well, what am I going to do? And I was thinking, maybe I could do instrumental stuff and be like a Joe Satriani guy. And boy, wouldn't that be fun to just play guitar and not have to worry about singing and lyrics and all that. And so I made some demos and I shopped them around. Nobody would sign it because everyone wanted vocals still. So I put it to be available on my website, and it sold like hotcakes. And I started getting letters from all over the world saying, this is the best thing you've ever done. This is my favorite thing you've ever done. For years, people just love those fusion demos. So I said, I got to make a record. And I did it as just a pet hobby kind of project. When I was home late at night, I'd do a little bit here, a little bit there for years, like 15 years. I would just work on it a little bit here and there. And then when COVID happened, I was like, Kip Winger, what the heck am I going to do? And he said, whatever happened to that fusion stuff you were working on all the time? I said, oh, God, I finished that. And he said, release it. I'm like, good idea. That's a great idea. So that's why it came out. It finally saw the light of day because I had time on my hands, which not usually was the case, you know?
Yeah.
Because I'm a touring musician. I'm never home. And then when I'm home, I'm writing for things that have a deadline.
Oh, you know? Yeah. Yeah. So how do you come up with the titles for the songs when you don't have any lyrics?
Sit there, smoke a joint. What does it make you think of?
There you go. that's probably makes a lot of sense right there. But
the only thing that didn't was Aurora Borealis, which was the second single. That was an Irish jig, and I kind of Googled around. I was like, what's an Irish name? And I came up with Finnegan's Wake, and that was just the worst name ever. I don't even know what a wake is. So I asked Rod Morgenstein, the drummer and winger. He listened to it, and I said, what should I call it? And he thought for a second and said, Aurora Borealis. Oh. And I was like, well, it doesn't remind me of Aurora Borealis. It doesn't have that vibe whatsoever, but it's a nice name, and it's an instrumental song. I can call it whatever the heck I want. I'll call it Frank's Pizza. You know?
Yeah, really.
It doesn't matter.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. So I've listened to the Dixie Dregs before and Steve Morse, and yeah, I can hear some of those influences on a few of the tracks here.
Sure.
I actually got to interview Steve Morse a few weeks ago, and he's
so awesome.
Have you ever gotten a chance to sit down and talk with him?
I got up on stage last year and jammed with the Dixie Dregs.
No way.
It was in the top 3 greatest moments of my life.
Whoa.
I actually sang Crossroads, and I didn't know the words. I'd never sang it before. So I was just, going down to the crossroads, trying to get my biggest fat man voice.
Mm-hmm.
And I broke a string right in the first 30 seconds of the soloing. So I played the whole thing on 5 strings. And Steve was very proud of me and announced it to the audience. This guy played the whole thing with 5 strings. It was a great honor. Yeah, I've met Steve on numerous occasions because, his drummer is in our band for all these years, and his son plays guitar and came up and jammed with Winger. And so that's probably why he returned the favor and let me get up and jam with the Dregs. I was in shock when they called me in this big theater packed with people.
Wow.
Great times.
That's very cool right there. That's very cool. Yeah, he's the nicest guy, man. Just so down to earth and just, there's no ego there at all when you're talking to him.
No, he's a sweetheart. The best thing he ever did was join Deep Purple.
Oh yeah.
He gets like a fifth of Deep Purple. Like when you buy a Deep Purple T-shirt, he gets a fifth of what the band gets. Dang. So he's got a runway and 8 airplanes at his house.
Whoa. Nice.
Yeah,
nice.
I live in a townhouse, and my studio's in the garage.
No runway?
Garbage.
No runway?
I don't have a runway yet.
No planes? Come on.
Just waiting for the bowling alley and the Shark Tank.
Yeah. Nice. That'd be with sharks with lasers.
Sharks with lasers.
Now, I was checking out your website, and your guitar.
That thing is so outdated.
Yeah, I noticed the news was 2017, so yeah. But the guitar's on there, dude. I like that. The design of the one with the cutaway to the bridge, and being in a wheelchair, I have to play sitting down, and that cut right there would be perfect.
It's perfect
for sitting down.
You don't need a guitar stand.
Yeah.
You can just set it down anywhere. Thanks. That was a great design, and I designed it for Ibanez. That was the Reb Beach model way back when. And it did really well, but when Winger broke up and the 80s were uncool, Ibanez said, well, we can't sell these anymore. No one's going to buy them because you've got an 80s stamp on your head. And they stopped making them, and it's too bad because they were, as far as I was concerned, the coolest guitar that Ibanez ever made as far as rock guitars. And one day I hope to reissue that, to do that again with those guys. And I asked John Suhr if he could make one, and he was kind of like, it would take like a year just to, do all the R&D for that. It'd be a lot easier to just go over to Ibanez and say, hey, let's just do a run of these guitars because they're very expensive now.
Oh, I can imagine. And yeah, they didn't skimp on the wood. I mean, Koa, that's some expensive stuff right there, man. Beautiful wood, beautiful, but expensive.
Well, my first guitar, like in the videos, was a Sir guitar, and it was called a Pensa Sir, and it was Rudy's Music Stop, Rudy Pensa on 48th Street, and his builder was John Sir. So I went over there in 1986 and fell in love with this Koa guitar, and that's what turned me on to Koa. And I took out a loan, and I bought it, and I was doing Twisted Sister at the time, and I brought it in, and Dee Schneider, who was one of the funniest people I've ever met in my entire life, told me that it looked like a coffee table, and couldn't believe that I was playing it. You know.
Oh, you can always put a really cool paint job on it, but not wood like that. Not wood like that.
The wood.
Yeah.
It's like he went out in the woods and chopped down a tree, and I found a nice piece and sanded it down and made it with my own hands, you know, and then your fingers go into the wood and make these indentations that make it fit you like an old pair of jeans, you know.
Nice. Now, I also on your website, I noticed you had got to meet Eddie Van Halen. Man, how was that?
Oh, is there a picture of me and Eddie on there?
Yeah, there's a picture of you and Eddie on there. I was like, whoa, that must have been pretty cool. Did you guys play a show together or something? It looked like it was backstage.
I think we were probably playing, the next day at the same venue, something like that.
Oh, okay.
It's very rare that Whitesnake would be on the same day as Van Halen. I don't know why. I guess because maybe we're a headliner.
Both
and they're
headliners,
a headliner over there anyway, not here. But I never really said more than a few words to Eddie. He was always very kind. And the last time I saw him, he said, I think I know you. He said, if you're the guy that I think you are, then you're a really good guitar player. And I was like, oh my God.
I'm the guy you're thinking of.
I hope I'm the guy that you think I am. You know? Nice. Yeah.
Now,
I wouldn't have the success I had if it wasn't for him. That's for sure. Because I'm labeled as kind of a shredder, and the only reason I'm labeled that way is because I do his tapping thing. I got the idea from him. Luckily, I don't sound anything like him because I didn't have videos back then to see how he did it. I just figured out my own way with a different finger, and I only knew from the picture on the back of the album.
Oh, nice. Well, you definitely got it figured out because there's some times on this album where I'm like, all right, is that tapping or is that picking? And I can't tell because you switch so fast between them. It seems it's like I don't think he has enough fingers to hit that many notes right there. I just don't know.
Oh man,
he must be alien.
This show is like a guitar show. There's a lot of guitar questions.
Oh yeah, well I'm a guitar guy, so Brad throws me all the guitar interviews, and I just talk guitar. I love guitar. I built quite a few of them, and that's why I was really turned on by your guitars there, and the Koa and the wood selections and stuff were really cool. Really cool.
Oh, thanks a lot. Yeah, I like that stuff too. I like a pretty piece of wood.
Now, did you, being that this is your project, and did you go about your guitar solos any different, or because I know you can't just blaze through everything. You do a really good job of holding back and letting the melodies come out and not be overshadowed by a bunch of bumblebees, screwing in a jar or something.
I hear you. Yeah, well, that was the plan. That's kind of what I do. I'm a very melodic player. But I can play fast when you need it. The first order of business was songs, good songs. All the best records, even instrumental records, have songs that stay with you, catchy hooks that are kind of relaxing to listen to, or that stay with you. And so that was the first order of business. And once I had that, then I just wrote sections in where you could just jam your face off, and you write sections that are good to play over. So it's just like when you write a pop song, you write sections that are good to sing over. If you've got some chords that sound great by themselves, but when you try and sing over it, they suck, you move on to the next one. And so all of the stuff that I was writing had to be good to play guitar over and lend itself to melodies if it was going to be a verse or a chorus.